11 a.m. So I just wanted to, first of all, introduce Dan, who is from NRPC, huge supporter of the Greater New York Chamber, been a member for many, many years, very knowledgeable on everything in regards to security. He is, I'm sure he's going to tell you, he is also authoring, or I should say, or contributing to articles in magazines now, or always was, but even more so. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Dan. Dan, I am going to make you the host right now.
All right.
Make host, and like I said, don't worry about the information in the chat and the people, you'll get a copy of it.
All right, and the first thing I need to do is share my screen. So let's see if we can do that. All right, do you guys see, all right. Can everybody see how to, the word how to?
Yep.
All right, great. So my name is Dan, and I run NRPC Computers. I have Melissa here, who helps an awful lot with marketing and things, and then Ariel. Ariel, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, so during this webinar, we're going to talk about how to create a work from home environment. And
in the webinar.
Yes. And so if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to put them in the chat and Ariel can answer them. She's excellent with technical issues. She knows more than anybody about IT and cloud computing and working from home. So feel free to do that. I'm just going to turn down my volume here.
You might want to tell everyone to mute themselves.
Maybe that's what it is.
Dan, you have the control, not me.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's muted. Okay, so without further ado, what we're going to talk about is how to create a pandemic or catastrophe proof, secure, and scalable IT department. The good news is without knowing anything about computers. So you're going to get a lot of information about how to put this infrastructure together. My goal is to really get into creating a highly secure cloud platform. And you can actually transition to this platform with little or no downtime. So do stay tuned to the end. I have something very special that I can offer everybody at the end, but I'll show you how to get the dark web scan at the end of this. So basically what we've experienced, you know, obviously since March, is COVID-19 has changed the game for everyone. And in fact, many of the changes you made to how your business works remotely has had an effect on your business, whether you know it or not. And a lot of businesses have become vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. Also, there might have been a slight loss of continuity with being able to communicate with your employees. So what we want to learn today is how to create a more profitable company, be able to work remotely and still be connected with all your employees, and be able to create a scalable business. So in one way, we can look at this and say, oh, it's been a little difficult with working at home, but in another way, there is a huge opportunity to actually think about the way we're creating these businesses, the infrastructure, and how we might be able to scale them in the future at a more affordable cost. So we really want to start to create a worry-free business as far as your IT needs go. So this webinar is designed to give you the technical tools you'll need to run a great company. It's one of these, in a company, in a business, you have a human resources department, you're going to have a marketing department, you're going to have a sales department. Now it's crucial to have an IT department. And it's really important. If you have that IT infrastructure with your business, then I think it'll give you a lot of tools to be able to scale your company in a safe, secure way. So I was introduced, I'm just going to go through what I've been doing for the last 9 years. I basically have been helping clients migrate to the cloud, and over the last 5 years, we've really helped save a lot of money for these people, whether they didn't need an office to work in or we helped save IT costs. And it's been over about $1 million that we've been helping businesses save in the last 5 years. We seamlessly migrate hundreds of seats to the cloud, and we've had a lot of experience migrating businesses to different platforms. We educate businesses on cloud computing and cybersecurity. And I regularly speak at the Chamber of Commerce, NCPAP, which is an accounting organization and the Long Island Tax Symposium, and I speak on cybersecurity and cloud computing at those organizations. So I briefly want to explain a mistake that happened about 2 years ago. And if you can hold on for 1 second. Okay. Basically, I was working with a client, and he said, okay, I need a server. My server's gone. I want to put a server over here in the closet. And I went through all the different options with him. And, you know, small accounting firm, 10 people. And I said, look, you can do the server, that's fine, but there's going to be some costs associated with it monthly because we need to back it up and all that. I said, there is another alternative. He's like, nope, I want my server. That's what I'm used to. I said, no problem. So we installed the server, and he then said, well, and I said, how are you going to back up your data? He's like, Dan, don't worry about it. I take care of this. It's not a problem. I have a thumb drive that I back everything up at night, and I put it in my pocket, and I go home. I said, that's probably not the best way to do this, but if you feel comfortable for doing that, I can't argue with you. So he did sort of go through that process. About 2 years later, I got this frantic phone call. He's a CPA on, I think it was like April 7th, right before our tax deadline. And he said, Dan, I can't get into any of my documents. There's some sort of encryption on all the files. I don't know what to do. So I had to go through, and basically what happened was we did a complete IT security threat analysis on his systems, and he got hit by ransomware. We had to actually negotiate to get the data back, which cost him about $8,000 to get the decryption key for the data. We had to build him an entirely new cloud platform and then migrate his data to that cloud platform to get him up and running. Since then, he has been one of our happiest clients, but it was a real stressful time for him, and it did cost about $25,000 with the ransom fee and all the work that we put into it. So what I hope to do is just give you the tools that you can use to prevent this from happening to your company. So this is going to help you if you're totally overwhelmed during work. Maybe you're worried about your server failing. You had difficulty with an emergency like COVID-19. After this class, you'll never feel unprepared again. And there are two different camps. There were people who have been using sort of remote situations or work from home applications. They literally had 5 minutes of downtime compared to other people who said, whoa, we don't know how to actually get everybody working securely. And they had about a 3-week transition period to make that happen in a secure fashion. As a CEO, CIO, a partner, if you're thinking about work when you're on vacation, you got to think, is this the result of an inefficient IT department? So how is the IT department affecting you personally? When you do have an IT issue and your IT guy doesn't answer the phone, I don't know if that happens, how fast does your IT issue get resolved? So time is money. You want to make sure that if you do have an issue, you can get on the phone and get an answer. So during this time, are you worried about people working from home? How are you monitoring what they're doing? How are you able to say, hey, this person's being productive or not productive? They're getting the tools that they need to work. I can't communicate with them, or I can. These are questions that we've been running into in the last couple of months. And so as they say, time is money, and we do want to make sure that if you're going to create a work from home environment that's efficient and it's something that you can scale up and create a more profitable company with. So the truth is, anybody can work from anywhere in the world. It's anywhere. You could be at your office, you could be at home, you can do this at any time. You can do it on a safe and secure network. You can be on vacation if you want it. It doesn't really matter. But you can create this environment. And so what you're about to learn took 9 years to develop. I started this in 2011, and the good news is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. What we're going to talk about today is tried and true. We've been through many, many different vendors, and we did really come up with a very good recipe for creating the system. So after doing this for 9 years, I've created the 7-step plan for protecting your company's data. You're going to get that plan today. We learned by helping thousands of people, whether it was fixing their laptops, desktops, servers, it doesn't matter. We've literally helped thousands of people with their computers in one fashion or another, and that knowledge has accumulated. And what I discovered while we actually migrate people to the cloud or help with their infrastructure is they are very happy with what we do, but they're always a little bit fearful. And the reason why they're fearful is because it's a moment of change, and that's perfectly fine. It's normal, but I have discovered that there's just a little bit of hesitation when we talk about new ways to actually approach your IT department. So there's a couple different ways to do this. There's the easy way, and then there's the hard way. The hard way is basically when people are creating an IT plan or department, they're sort of fumbling and bumbling their way through creating that IT network. And there's no knowledge going into it. Often they're using the wrong tools. They're spending way too much money to do what they're trying to accomplish. And in some cases, they lose data because they're not doing things in the proper steps. If they do manage to put a network together, they're not maintaining it. So at one point or another, what's going to happen is they're going to come into their office and their computers don't turn on or something like that, and then they're not going to be able to work. So there is a maintenance that is involved with any IT solution today. I do have one sort of caveat. This is your data. So I'm going to walk you through how we help companies protect their data and how we're able to set up these remote secure networks. This is my system. It's unique, and I'm totally happy to share it with you, but you are responsible for your data. So if you take these tools and you implement them, just be sure that you know what you're doing before you click delete or whatever. Make sure you back up all of your data if you're going to implement these steps. That's very, very important. Any questions so far? If you do, feel free to put them on chat, and Ariel will be happy to answer them. So here are 3 big secrets for moving to a work from home environment. The first is you can revamp your IT department for 1/3 of what you've been quoted in the past. You know, I'm going to go through some of the costs associated with cloud computing compared to building a network within your office. Number 2, everything on your computer can be streamlined to 1 click. That's what we want. That's what we're sort of striving for within our PC, is how can we make everything a 1-click solution where you click a button and it happens. Number 3, I'm going to give you the 7 steps to creating a world-class IT department. So secret number 1, you can revamp your IT department for 1/3 of what you've been quoted. Servers cost between $8,000 and $100,000, maybe even more, depending on the size of your company. For companies between 10 and 50 employees, it's not unreasonable to have these servers be in that price range. So you are talking about a huge expense when you have on-premise servers. They have expensive monthly costs ranging from $250 a month to $1,000, depending on the amount of data that you have. Creating a scalable solution with these servers is difficult, because what you're trying to do is create a network between 2 offices or an office and home, and creating a secure connection to these servers can be very difficult. The more locations you have, the more difficult it will be. I was working with a company, they had 5 offices, one in San Francisco, Chicago, I think it was Miami, Houston, and then New York. And that is not easy to put together. You have all sorts of hardware in all those offices to create that connection. It can be very difficult to create that environment. So do I need to have an expensive server? No, you don't. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, these businesses are creating ways for businesses to get rid of your physical server forever. You don't need to know anything about cloud computing to use it, so you can literally set it up. You need to know something about how to set it up. Once it's set up, though, you literally give your employees an icon, they click it, and they're in their system. The cost of using the cloud and the ease of use are why companies are moving to these cloud platforms. So everything on your computer can be streamlined to 1 click. What we have been running into, and you might be able to relate to this, is that some employees use Dropbox in their companies, and then another person in that company might be using OneDrive. Another person might be using Google. So they're using different applications. Some people use QuickBooks Online. Other people use QuickBooks Desktop. A program like 1099 might be installed on the network, but they had to work from home and install it locally on their computer. Data basically is getting put into many, many different places, which is hard to manage. Sometimes people store documents on their desktop and not in a shared drive. So there's little continuity or standard operating procedures that is going into their IT department. Some people have been using LogMeIn in the company and go to my PC. I think you're getting the general idea that basically these applications are going everywhere, and there's no continuity within these businesses. Some people use Slack, other people use Skype. So here are the 7 steps. If you have a piece of paper and a pen, you might want to write these down. What we're going to go over to creating your perfect environment is basically going to start with filtering your email, because not only do we want this to be easy to use and productive, we need to make it secure. And that's the actual first thing we're talking about, is security with your company's data. Filtering emails is where it starts. Then we're going to talk about having a firewall installed and what kind of firewall you should have. We're going to talk about an antivirus, the best antivirus that you can get today and what it's going to protect you from. And that would be ransomware, which is the #1 threat that most businesses have today. We're going to show you, actually, I might not have time to show you a hosted desktop because it's pretty extensive and we're a little bit limited on time. But if you want, just email me and I'll show you, a quick demonstration of the actual hosted desktop. Then we're going to talk about backing up your data, why it's crucially important to do that. And finally, our cybersecurity training is also part of what you should be implementing in your company. And the last step is going to be consultations. So if you're not an IT person, you are a business owner, and you're kind of wondering, boy, how do I learn about this? We're going to show you some great ways to get free IT consultations. So has anybody ever seen this? This is an old one. I don't know if you remember XP and you get this little pop-up and then you can't use anything on your program. This is the old school virus. They have definitely changed in the last couple of years, but in a nutshell, this is what we want to prevent from happening to your systems if you're working remotely. Sometimes people will go to a website like this. When you do cybersecurity training, you'll realize why this website is malicious and bad. And if you actually put your information in here, you could be compromising your data and your personal identity. So a lot of people do think, while we're talking about this, is that, hey, we're a small business. We don't need to worry about it because we're too small for anybody to think about hacking into our system. That's totally wrong. In fact, 1 in 5 small businesses falls victim to cybercrime each year. And that number is growing because the cyber criminals are realizing, oh, these people have insecure systems. We can get in pretty easily. Their information is still very valuable. If you're an accounting firm with 5 people, you still have a lot of records with people's social security numbers in it. You have their addresses. And so there is great information that people have if they're a small business. So you want to think about that. Small businesses are low-hanging fruit because they don't believe they are a target, and therefore they have loose or no security systems in place. And half of attacks are aimed at small businesses. And I think that you're going to start seeing that number grow as time goes on. So we do want to make sure we're protected against any future attacks. $201. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about what this number means. Basically, this is the cost associated if you have a breach with your company. If you're a medical firm and you have a record, let's say you have 1,000 records, it's going to be about $200 for each record. That will be the cost. So a business of that size would be in for quite a bit of money if they did get compromised. The reason why is because of reputational damage. They would have to go to their clients, say, hey, we lost your data. That's not going to have a positive effect. You're going to lose some clients. There will be lawsuits. If you think about Target, any one of these companies, they did have a lot of lawsuits against them. You have legal fees, compliance lawsuits, replacement of data is very, very expensive. You'd have to pay for the encryption key. Then you have to rebuild your entire server network, downtime. There's a lot of things that are associated if you get breached. The key point, just because you're a small business, that doesn't mean your customers' information is any less valuable to them. What we are doing as business owners is we're being good stewards of their information. So let's start from the top. Spam. This is the #1 way how people are getting into the systems. There's lots of ways that hackers get into servers, but this really is the easiest. You get an email saying, hey, click this link, and you're just saying, hey, it looks good to me. Somebody needs some business. They want me to click this link to get their information. You click that link, and all of a sudden you have a program installed on your computer. So we need to prevent that from happening.
Hold on, Dan, for 1 second.
Filtering emails is the first step. So if you're looking for the actual tools that we use for all of our clients, it's going to be the program Mail Protector. And a lot of people say, yep, we are definitely filtering our emails. We have Norton, or we have McAfee, and when an email comes in, it scans that email for a virus or for some sort of malicious program. What we try to do is we filter the emails before they get into your inbox. It's much more safe, it's much more secure, and that's kind of the direction you want to take your company in. When we do these, when we use Mail Protector, you get daily reports of what has been filtered. You have the opportunity to preview those emails, and then you can release them to your inbox if you want. You can customize the emails that are blocked. You can prevent compromised email accounts from sending emails. Have you ever gotten one of those emails from your friend and it says, hey, buy this stuff from China, like this cheap electronic hardware? That is because somebody got into the email account and is sending emails to basically their contact list. So if your email account with your business gets compromised like that, basically somebody's going to send an email to all of your clients. We want to prevent that from happening. This Mail Protector program will prevent that email from being sent. And also encrypting your emails. If you're into finances or medical industry, you want to encrypt your emails in some cases. And a good email filter program will do that. So if you want to write that down, Mail Protector is a good one to use. And they have a great knowledge base. So if you want, if you need to learn how to implement it, they have a knowledge base to show you how to actually get that email filter working for your business.
And
Firewall. Very important to protect against outside cyber attacks. It's going to block Trojans. It lets you set up a VPN connection, which is very helpful for printing if you're going to be on a cloud solution, and it blocks bad websites. If you want, you can sort of maintain that and say, okay, you're not going to be able to go to like Amazon.com while you're at work, or Facebook. It gives you the ability to control what content people and your employees have at work, whether they're at home or in the business. Which firewall should you use? We use Meraki. It's a great firewall for smaller businesses. It has a great interface for maintaining. The security is constantly updated. You have a cloud-based management with it. You can set VPNs. It's very easy to set that up, and they have great customer support. So Meraki is the one that we use for our small businesses. Anybody have an idea of what ransomware?
Dan, I have a question.
You can just raise your hand. I can see you.
Can anyone hear me?
No? All right. Anybody ever get hit with ransomware? No? Okay. Ransomware is the big threat that businesses are experiencing today. Basically, what it will do is it'll take a Word document, .docx, it'll change that extension to .gamma, for example, and then they put an encryption on it, so you can't open that document. What you'll get then is a message saying, hey, you've been hit with ransomware. You have to go to this email address and pay. The fines are actually, or the extortions are getting quite expensive, around $7,000 or $8,000 for a small business. And we did have a ransomware about 2 months ago. They were asking for $18,000. That was for a 10-person company. It wasn't like a huge company. The ransom fees are going up to $70,000, $80,000. There was a hospital that got ransomware, and it was very expensive for them to get their data back. The problem is, if you pay the fee, you're always going to be in a target for future attacks. So ransomware can be very, very worrisome for businesses. You're going to get an email like this. They'll give you a little email address to reply to, and it'll be a bad day. So we want to prevent that from hitting your systems. What antivirus are you going to use? SentinelOne. This is designed specifically for ransomware. What it does is it goes on to all your desktops in your company. It will predict any malicious behavior that's happening with your systems. It'll see that the extension is being changed as a service, and it'll stop that service from changing all those documents. So it'll rapidly eliminate threats, and it seamlessly adapts with certain defenses. And it's dedicated to preventing a ransom attack. That's really the #1 threat we have today, is ransomware. So the one-click solution, again, I don't have time to go through this because I do want to have a little Q&A. But if you want to have a little demo of what the one-click solution is, just let me know. And I'll have my contact information at the end. But it's really cool. You click this one icon, your entire network comes up. You can get Teams on there, Office, QuickBooks, any program that you have can be in that one-click solution. Backing up your data. How many people, just raise your hand, back up your data today? Everybody? 1, 2, 3. All right, how many people are using Google Docs or thumb drives? Google Docs, okay. You want to be very careful with backing up your data, because you can have the filter, you can have the antivirus, you can have the firewall. These criminals are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they're constantly coming out with new ways to get into your systems. So even though we put all those blockades up, they could still get through. So your last line of defense is backing up your data. If you back it up, it doesn't matter. They can compromise your data all day long, but you have a copy of it, you can restore it. So it's very important to make sure you have a great cloud program that's backing up your data, and that you test it and you get reporting on when those backups happen, and go in every now and then, once a week, and check, hey, am I able to restore my data? So backing up your data is very important. We do that through Microsoft Azure and a company called SolarWinds. Very good ways to back up your data. It'll protect your data from ransomware. It'll let you recover deleted files. It'll also let you go back and see previous revisions of files. So let's say it's not only like for emergency only, but it's very practical. If you're in a Word document and you don't like what you've done with that document, you can go back and, Ariel, is there something going on here? Can you guys all hear me and see my screen?
Yeah, we're trying to let you know that there are people waiting to get into the Zoom meeting.
And he has control.
So can you hear us then?
Okay, I'm assuming you can.
I
difficulties.
don't think he can actually hear us.
Ariel, can they see
Okay.
everything? Just put it on Teams.
Greater New York Chamber.
There's an issue.
Can you hear us?
Dan, can you hear me?
Oh, I see. I have to admit these people. Oh no.
I don't think you have any audio, Dan.
You know what, Helena? These people need to be admitted, and I think I was supposed to be doing that. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Anyway, backing up the data. Sorry about that. Is the most important aspect of protecting your company. And can you just put in the chat whether you can still see my screen?
We can still see your screen. The question is, can you hear us?
Hello, guys?
Yeah, you can't hear us.
He has something that he's doing that it doesn't allow us. So because this is a meeting, it should be interactive. And I turned over the hosting to him. So
Can you guys hear me? Can you raise your hand if you can hear me? No?
Yes, we can hear you, but
Okay.
we can't.
Seems like people can hear me, Ariel. All right. So cybersecurity is also very important. So you want to learn how to, learn about these different issues that are happening with cybersecurity. You want to be able to manage cyber risks, handle spam and all that. So training is very much a part of this. And that is an ongoing thing. A lot of companies want to have that weekly training, and it's very important if you're going to have cybersecurity insurance. You need to have cybersecurity training. And finally, free consultations. If you need help with any of this stuff, you can get free IT consultations right here in New York. It's pretty easy to do that. Just Google IT support NYC, and you're going to get 10 different companies on the first page of Google. There's going to be bad companies there, and there's going to be good companies there. So you do need to vet them out a little bit, but most likely all these people will at least entertain a phone call and maybe come on site and give you some advice. You might get a little bit of a sales pitch when you're in there. That's fine. Take the free information, and then you can implement it into your business. So do you guys have any questions? If you want to, I can unmute everyone, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question technically, I'd be more than happy to answer any of those.
Unmute us.
Got any questions there, Ariel?
No
All right.
questions
So
far?
basically, if you want, what you can do is give me a call. If you have any questions or you want to see a demo of the hosted desktop, you can email me, dan@myinterpc.com. And just, a brief recap of what we've covered here is I hope you've, got some information from this and that it's been helpful. We really can't cover everything, in a half hour, 45 minutes. Even if we had all day, it'd be tough to get everything down. But, I hope you got some tools there. We do have a special offer. So if you're interested, I'm going to go over something pretty cool that you can take advantage of. And basically, what you can do if you want, we can schedule a 15-minute consultation and I can go through your IT network and give you some ideas of where you're at and where you'd like to be. It's a very brief phone call. You can really ask me any question that you want. It could lead to me creating actually an entire IT plan for your company. And there is a thing called the dark web, which is very important. It's basically how cyber criminals are getting your passwords. And what they're able to do is go out on the dark web, they sell these things to you and basically try to get into your systems. A lot of people, when they create passwords, are going to create some people use the word password and then they might put 1, 2, 3. So what you want to do is create a complex password, but they could get part of that password and then they're just going to start using different combinations of that password to get into your emails, for instance. So if you want, we can get a dark web scan. It's worth about 99 bucks. We can do a free scan for you. So that's not a problem if you want to just find out if your information has been compromised on the dark web. So feel free to email me, dan@myinterpc.com, or you can call, 877-488-6972. And I guess, Helena, that's about what I have today, unless people have any questions. Maybe we can open up for the chat and see if people have anything they want to add to this.
Dan, can you hear
hand it over
me?
to you.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
Lona?
Yes, yes, we
Okay.
can hear you, Irina.
Okay, good. Okay, so for those who joined us late, I apologize about that. What we could do is I will send you guys over the copy of the video of this. If you guys have any questions, put it in the chat or you can ask Dan right now. And this way, if you have any questions about, he just briefly went over about securing whether you're at your home or your business. And he gave us really good information on specifics. If you have anything specific, put it in the chat. He can answer it for you. And any questions? Dan, can you just go over like four talking points for the at the beginning of your of this webinar for those who came in late? Just highlight 4 points.
Sure. I think it'd be helpful to understand okay. This is pretty helpful.
Yeah, perfect.
Let me just go back just a little bit. There's basically 3 things I want people to be aware of, that we do have choices as far as running an IT department and creating a secure network. And the basic misconception is people think that this needs to be a hugely expensive process, and it really doesn't. You can actually build these systems for about 1/3 of the costs that it would take, if you built it on premise. Everything on your computer can be streamlined to 1 click, and then there's the 7 steps that we've created that are helping a lot of businesses. I do have a little bit of time, so maybe it'd be helpful if I showed you. You can see my screen on the left, right? Okay, so
Yes.
all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you what this means. See this icon? And if you want a more in-depth understanding of what this is, just let me know. But basically, this icon goes to, it basically connects you to these servers that we have in Virginia. This is getting a little bit more in depth. We are a partner with Microsoft. All of our servers are with Microsoft Azure, which is a platform we chose because, we're talking about continuity, but actually their suite, their Office suite, has different things like the servers. It has Teams, which you can collaborate and use to communicate with all of your employees. you know, obviously has Word, Office, and PowerPoint, but if you click this icon right here, you can create your own network. You put your password in. We're talking about security, so one thing we didn't really talk about too much was 2FA. So now I'm getting logged into my server in Virginia. Now my desktop, I'm like a plumber, you guys, because there's crap all over my desktop, so sorry about that. But let me just get into here and get the 2FA going. Well, I just turned my phone on, so it's going to take a little while to get the codes, but they should come in a little bit. But what would basically happen is you would put your 2FA in here, and then you'd be able to log into your hosted desktop and be on a network shared throughout your company. So it'd just be the exact same thing as if you were in your office sharing out your network. Just to give you an example, you can push the minimize button, and now I'm on my local computer. Then you push the maximize button, and you would be on the hosted desktop. I just turned on my phone, so it's not going to send me the 2FA. It is pretty secure. Let's see if it comes through now. I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, here we go. So I got a little thing on my phone here, and then I just click the green button, boom, and I'm logged in. And really, whether you're you know, working from home or whatever, you know, on your network, you can actually install this on your computer. It's called Duo, which is a good program. There's other ways we can do this, but this is my desktop for work. And it's the exact same thing as if you were logging into a server. You're going to have all your network drives here and down here. You know, we have different sort of ways we share folders, a couple of red lines, that's not good. But basically, it's an entire network where you can share all of your company's data, and that can be very helpful. Any questions about the hosted desktop? If you want, email me, and I will be able to show you more in depth of how this works. Putting it together is a different story, but this is basically what all of our clients use.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. And if you guys have any questions, like I said up here, I'm just going to let Emin in right now. We have a couple of stragglers. For those who are joining us, definitely put your information in the chat right now on the bottom. And Dan is going to get, and if you have any questions, we have about 5 more minutes. So I want to get those who came in late to ask questions. In this way, Dan will email you. He's going to get a copy of all the attendees. So he'll continue the conversation. Like I said, we're going to put a copy of the video on Chamber TV so you guys can reference it. And then, like I said, it's better if you have a specific question to ask Dan, because there might be some things that are confidential that you might feel more comfortable with him one-on-one.
These are more important things I gotta do right now. I'm home.
I'm going to mute him. So if you, I think, is it Danish or Danish? Danish has had his hand up, Dan.
Okay, let's unmute him, because if I can.
Okay.
Or we'll click the chat. Okay, what has he got? Okay, people are chatting up here. That's good. What was he saying here?
I asked to unmute him, and
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't want to.
I don't see anything in the chat. So if you can post it in the chat, that'd be great.
Yeah, Dan, if you can, Danish, if you can put it in the chat. I tried to unmute you, but I think you're overriding me.
Oh, here it is. I'm good for now.
His
My
mic
mic, I
is
think
not
he had an
working.
issue with his mic.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, you guys? So like I said, put everything in the chat. We have like 2 more minutes. I have to do a hard stop for the next webinar. We really appreciate, Dan, your knowledge of cybersecurity, huge, especially in COVID time. People are transitioning from their business to their home to their business. So I think it's very valuable. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Dan. He has his information. And we will talk to you, everyone, later.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Talk to you later. And I'll send you guys a copy of the chat.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. Bye-bye.
bye.